I was actually contributing to the issues that were about to hit.
So it's your fault. The great financial crisis is your fault.
At the time, I didn't know that, but I will take a lot of the heat on that. I had a job. I didn't want a job. I could go anywhere. I wanted a career.
Right.
At that time, I had a good job.
Yeah, you had a really good job, but you wanted something more. You wanted ownership. You wanted to have the ability to grow and earn more money.
And it be on me more.
Yeah.
We don't lose doors, Spencer. I'm telling you.
Which is great. Fantastic.
The only time we lose doors is if we choose it, which I did have to do that about a week or two ago. Make it right, make it count, and make it meaningful.
All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Evernest Property Management Show. I am your host, Spencer Sutton, and today, again, this is the second time in the past few weeks that I hadn't had Matthew Whitaker with me, but that's okay because I've got a guest, somebody that a lot of people in NARPM know, especially here in the southern states, and that's Trent Ratliff. Trent, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, I've been around about 15 years, so people tend to know me.
Well, you're talkative, so that's good, and that's the perfect guest for a podcast. Is somebody who enjoys talking, you enjoy networking, and so we're glad you're here.
I enjoy people.
You do. It's very obvious. So what I want to do, I want to kick it off. I'm going to read your bio. I don't know if you wrote this or if somebody wrote it for you, but it's okay. I can brag on you, right?
Let's do it.
Okay, so Trent is a proud graduate, is he ever, of the University of Georgia.
Alumni on my shirt.
He's actually wearing a Georgia shirt right now. If you're watching this on YouTube, you see it. He's an alumni. In his spare time, he enjoys spending quality time with his family. At 40, Trent embraced a new challenge by starting to compete in Ironman events, pushing himself to new physical and mental limits. With a passion for both personal growth and community, Trent balances his athletic pursuit with his career and family life, which I want to hear more about that. Whether it's cheering for the Bulldogs or training for his next race, he is always striving to improve and stay engaged in what he loves. All right, Trent, again, welcome to the show. Glad you're here.
Let's go.
All right, so let's talk about this. I'm always very curious about people's origin story, how they got into property management, because most people don't go out seeking a career in property management. At least I don't know. I mean, unless it's like a family business.
Correct.
And I've heard a few of those stories, but typically that's not the way it goes. So how did you get involved in real estate and specifically property management?
So I went to UGA, obviously.
Yep.
And originally I thought I was going to be a coach, but for some reason
You'd be a good coach.
I think I could have been,
yeah.
And I know I could have been a good coach, but I had thoughts of grandeur. I wanted to make more money than a coach would make, and I didn't think of myself as a coach in terms of like collegiate.
You didn't want to go the typical route of like PE. I'm teaching PE and kind of up through the ranks, the JV and all that.
I kind of wanted to make a little more money, so I had some connections in development. So I got a real estate finance degree, and at UGA, and I took that. Did a little bit of financing right out the gate because I was young and I needed loan officer type stuff, and didn't realize at the time, because I graduated in 2004, that I was actually contributing to the issues that were about to hit.
So it's your fault. The great financial crisis is your fault.
At the time, I didn't know that, but I will take a lot of the heat on that because I gave some loans that I knew were wrong.
Yeah, you were like, I don't even know how these people are going to pay this back.
That's correct.
But they're telling me I need to give it to them.
I'm 23, 24 years old, and it's my job to do what Wells Fargo's telling me to do. And
wow.
I didn't have the foresight either because I went into development right after that, right when I got some legs under me, and found out while I was in development, even at the local level, like how political it was. And I did enjoy
development. You're talking about real estate development,
commercial development.
Yeah. So you went from like loan officer. Did the market crumble and then you went into development, or you kind of like the natural course was?
It was a natural course. So I ended up meeting a girl, Ellen, my wife, of almost 20 years. We're about a year away from our 20th, so I got to start preparing for that right now.
That's right.
So she lived close to my hometown, even though we didn't know each other growing up. And she had a job there. So I found a developer there and we started working with him. And after about 2 years of that, he started robbing Peter, pay Paul type stuff. That's part of the game.
Sure.
And then the crash happened so I was about 2 or 3 years after I'd been done with loans, and I didn't have a job for about 6 months. And it's the only time in my life I didn't have a job, and I was kind of a proud guy because here I graduated UGA.
Sure.
There wasn't the market wasn't great at the time. Like crashes were going on,
really
especially
bad.
and I didn't really know what to do. So I just took a job at it was called Solutions Realty Network at the time, and it's now a PMI franchise with Donna and Chris Littleton. And
This is in Atlanta.
In Atlanta, right? Well, it was. We were on the south side near where I was overqualified, and within a year, for the position I was taking, I was just coming in as a property manager with like a decent amount of ability.
Sure, right.
It did take me, there's a learning curve with property management. I don't care how smart you are, but within a year or so, I was running their stuff, and Chris and Donna were able to not be around as much. And for the better part of 9 years, and they compensated me well.
Yep.
We had a good thing going at Solutions Realty, or SRN. And soon thereafter, I was looking for a change, and they were looking for a change as well. They went with PMI franchise because they wanted more of a structure because they've always wanted to build doors.
So how did that work? Did they sell to PMI? Is that the way you do it, or did they just go and buy a franchise?
They bought a franchise, and they were one of the first ones in Atlanta. So they were PMI Atlanta. Like that was a big deal for them because they wanted to be kind of the main one for Atlanta, or get the grandfathered into the best stuff. Well, it kind of was a transition point for me at that time because I was their company. They like in a lot of ways in terms of managing it, but now they've got a system situation where they're going to be going a different route. And I just happened to meet up with a friend of mine. Her name was Pam Coley. I had worked with her in the past, and she had around 200 doors at the time, and
she was a manager, property manager.
She was a manager. But she struggled with management. She was great at BDM work, great with getting more doors.
Yeah.
But she needed someone. So we ended up partnering up at that point because she saw what I did before, and she had a lot of faith in me. And quite frankly, we're now 8 years in, and it's been the best decision of my life because my life totally changed when I became an owner, and we grew this, and now we're up to like 1,000 doors. We're like 991 doors. So like within a week or two, or a month or so, we'll be at 1,000 doors, which is a pretty big. As long as you don't
churn any out.
Well, we churn.
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
We churn them out, but they're usually to sales. Yeah. We don't lose doors, Spencer. I'm telling you,
which is great, fantastic.
The only time we lose doors is if we choose it, which I did have to do that about a week or two ago, or our owners sell, because we'll talk about our portfolio a little bit later, but we have a lot of foreign portfolio,
right,
where we acquire what I call the product and manage it for them. So
let me ask you real quick before you go on. You came to this inflection point in your career, right? So your former employer was saying, "Hey, we're going to go with PMI."
Yep.
You had a decision to make. Was there something that you decided, I want to stay in property management, or did you ever think, you know what, I don't like this business? I don't know. I'm just curious.
Actually.
You really love the business.
I like property management, and so much so that like I'm still in it too much, even though I could have ways out. But what happened really was I was in a spot in around 2016, 2017 where I was growing immensely in terms of my reach in the market with in terms of just my friend base in NARPM, my friend base is in real estate and all this kind of stuff. And it really didn't make sense for me to stay there other than like I had a job. I didn't want a job. I could go anywhere. I wanted a career.
Right.
At that time I had a good job.
Yeah, you had a really good job, but you wanted something more. You wanted ownership. You wanted to have the ability to grow and earn more money.
And it be on me more.
Yeah,
but what scared me to death was starting from zero, because then literally my income would be gone.
Yeah, right.
And I'm
start with one door or two doors.
Yes.
Brutal.
I mean, what was it? Richard Burton, who's famous in the Atlanta chapter for it being silly, but his first ever NARPM event, he had a card with a door on it. It was his business card. It had a door, and he goes, my card has more doors than I do. And it was a funny joke that I still remember because I didn't want to be that.
Yeah, you don't want to be that.
I didn't want to be that because it would have been just such a grind, and I would have taken things I didn't want to take probably and all this kind of stuff. So when I met Pam, and she already had the BDM stuff going, and we already had somewhat of a base, not a huge payroll going on at the time. We could build this. And I mean, we've gone from 200-ish to 1,000, and I mean, how long ago? We've kind of slowed down the last couple of years, but we really hit it hard. We grew probably 75 to 100 doors a year for about 6 or 7 years straight. But the last 2 or 3 years, it's been kind of breaking even.
I was about to say, why do you think that is? Just the tougher market?
So we did end up having we had to pivot because we were in Georgia. We have about 650 doors. We've always kind of we've got it to there, and we've maybe got it close to 700. We maybe gotten close to 6 between, but we've been between 600 or 700 in Georgia for a long time. But that's not the product anymore. The product got too expensive. So, and we are buying, we have owners overseas that are buying in cash, and it needs to be something that's more affordable. Back in the day, you could buy in Georgia for, I mean, we're talking about the low end, it was 60, but then high end was like 120, 140. Well, now it's like 200 to 320. Like, it's just a different market. They don't have that kind of cash. They had 100, they don't have 200. So we are in Montgomery now, where the product is.
Welcome to Alabama.
Welcome to Alabama. Yeah, we've been here since 2020.
Okay.
And we've got 350 doors now in there. So we are pretty selective on our doors. We don't get into two. I mean, we're C plus B properties, but that's just the market there. But they're all nice brick homes. I can't believe what you can get for. I almost don't know why more people don't live here for the affordability of it. It's just, it's really affordable. Now the houses aren't quite as big, but they're brick. They got mature front lawns. Some of them have pools. Like it's pretty nice. So
essentially it sounds like a majority of your portfolio, the clients are what we would call Mike and Mary the investor. So you're really tailoring your business to investor for the most part.
Yeah, and we're pivoting now from that a little bit.
So what are you pivoting to?
We're actually hired a BDM. We've never had a BDM. Our BDM was our methods to get properties, acquire them, and then give them to we have a facilitator that's overseas that helps us find them as well.
Investors helps you find investors, right?
Yeah, and so that has been our growth pattern. Well, that's kind of stalled out. There's many reasons, some of it political. Believe it or not, I mean, I'll just throw this out there. Like nothing's really scared of my foreign investors. Like, we had inflation hit that was huge. We had, the first Trump, we had the Biden, we had the Trump. Like, nothing really. But I will tell you this, like, for some reason, the tariffs
scared them to death.
Scared them. And like, nothing, social issues, nothing's happened that has scared these people, our normal clientele. But the tariffs did. And, there's some fear of other, sanctions that could or may happen. And so we do have some owners electing to try to get out it's, if they have other uses for the money, fine. But I don't think it's the time to get out because I think the market's actually kind of low right now. I think real estate is actually on sale, even though it costs a lot to hold these real estate. It's never going to be this low again. It's going to go higher again, in my opinion. But
so what are you pivoting to when you say?
Sorry, I didn't.
That's okay. That's okay. You're hiring a BDM.
We hired a BDM, so we're
because Pam has been your BDM for the most part.
Well, we really focused on our Google, and we're like at a 4.8. We got like 500 reviews now. And we've had an influx out of nowhere this year of just people coming to us. And like, we're not even coming in. Like, we have some of them investors, some of them are reluctant landowners, but some of them are investors. And they're coming to us, and we can't, like, Kayla is my right hand, and she can only handle so much in Georgia. Like, she's my main property manager she's got, her assistants, but she's also handling the sales, which she can do, but like she's got
a great personality for sales. I would imagine she's fantastic,
but she can't do it all. She can do it all, but she can't do it all.
Right.
So we had to pivot and get a BDM because we have to have somebody that's managing these people because she can't do that as well. When it was one a month, yeah, she can do it. But when we have 7, 8, 9, 10, which is happening right now, we need someone managing that. So we've actually. managing our sales portion of it is only in Alabama right now because we're not growing in Georgia that way. So, and that is still handled by my partner Pam and Morgan, our number one in Alabama. What's been
the when you look back and you say, okay, we were at 200 when you joined and became a partner with your company. What's been the biggest challenge of growing this company, of scaling? What's been the biggest struggle that you all have had and faced? Because not a lot of people get to 1,000 doors, right? It's very difficult. And so a majority of property managers out there are, somewhere probably between 100 and 300 or 400.
And that is where when I was with SRN, they were at like 400 or 500, and they would get up to 6 or so, and we might drop back down to 4 because we'd get an institutional owner here and there or something.
Right.
But you're right. Most people get stuck between the 4 and 6. Don't really know. The real thing is we would have gotten stuck at 600 in Atlanta, and we would have pivoted. We would have had a BDM, but we were fine being stuck in Atlanta and just getting our onesies and twosies, basically offsetting in Atlanta and growing in Alabama. In Alabama is where we've been growing. I mean, we started with 0 in 2020. And we have 350 now. So, I mean, we're growing at, 70-ish doors a year, probably 60-ish.
And now, all of those are really through acquisition for the most part. Or are you out there getting more business in Montgomery? Like
we are getting more business now. Gotcha. We are starting to be known there, and people want to do business with us now. And we've actually had people think that they don't want to do business with us and then come back or tell us that. So typically we don't lose people because I'm not the secret sauce. Like Pam and Kayla and Morgan and our team, they're the secret sauce. People love them. And you don't want it because you trust them because they are trustworthy people. I'm a trustworthy person. And you say people say, if they keep on saying you're trustworthy, you're probably not, or all this kind of stuff. But
if you're having to remind people you're trustworthy, you're probably not, right?
But it just exudes off of us. And if somebody doesn't want to. If somebody just wants to be the skeptic or whatever, that's their problem. We don't manage for those people because that's they're bringing that to the table. But the difficult thing, one of the things that I'm going through now is just the cost of employees and the cost of my payroll is like way higher than it used to be, and I am not used to that payroll. I'm going to boast Evernest. I'm not used to an Evernest payroll yet. So
I'm rolling my eyes.
So I'm having to hire more people and invest more in our products and try to follow where we think it's going in terms of the relationships we have with our softwares and everything like that. We don't have a lot of problems with people.
How do you find great people?
First of all, everybody we've on our team is we got Pam and her daughter's Kayla, and we are maintenance managers. Jake is her son, so that's family.
It's kind of family owned, right?
We have a tenant that we loved. Her name back in the day. Her name was Nicole. She's probably my right hand man, meaning like she's who I deal with on a regular basis. Kayla has virtual assistants that we got from Better Who and I do like the way we got our virtual assistants because our RTMs, I don't like I should call them virtually, our remote team members, and we were anti that for forever, but the cost of an American worker is quite expensive, and there is still a place for that, but there's also a place for RTMs. So we have 4 now, and we did let go of one immediately because they didn't work out. But then through our RTMs, they had a friend that wanted to do it, and she's now one of our best workers. The friend of our RTMs. Everybody on our staff we knew before, every one of them.
Gotcha.
Or have a big time vouch from someone else that we trust.
Sure.
And we don't go we did an Indeed listing there recently. Like I told you, hired and it just felt weird. I'm like, what are we doing? Like we just hire because people tend to want to work with us because we're a pleasant place to work.
Yeah.
And we.
Why do you think you're a pleasant place to work? Because property management is really hard. How do you sell somebody on, hey, this is...
Kayla and Pam will not allow it to be negative. Like, it's not a negative work environment.
They have a good time.
They're having a good time. I mean, there is anxiety, there is stress, and it does come off of us. But in terms of our, what's our mission statement or whatnot, we have two things. I guess the mission statement and the values. So our mission statement is building long-term relationships. Like, that is it.
That's
like
it.
that. So we are interested in long-term relationships. And I really do think why I'm saying this is why I think we have a good place to work. We build long-term relationships even in our team.
Within your team, within your residents, owners, all of that.
The reason I had
Vendors.
to let go, I led off earlier, how I had to let go of an owner earlier, and I did not like to do that. But that owner was not interested in a long-term relationship because of how they were treating us. So I'm not going to put up with people that are not in it for long-term goals. Everybody should benefit in long-term relationship.
100%.
So that's our mission. But our values are make it right, make it count, and make it meaningful. And we build everything about that. Every month we have a core value winner. That if we see something, everybody's like putting in a little bit of information into our leadership board that somebody did something that made it right, somebody that made it meaningful, somebody that made it count. And like making it right is just, we make mistakes as property managers, believe. I mean,
sure, everybody does.
Everybody does. And it's sometimes your fault, sometimes it's not. But if we are even a little bit at fault, we will make it right, even at our own cost.
Right.
And the same thing with making it meaningful is with the relationships, spiritual, business, whatever. And we look out for our even our tenants and our owners. If we hear if somebody had a baby, we'll send them cards. We're trying to make it meaningful. And then making it count is just coming in and everybody gives it all. Every time you're making it count, you come in, you're working. Now, if it's for 4 hours and you need to take a break, for that 4 hours you're working, though, you're making it count. So that's kind of something we go by. And I think it exudes off everybody. And we talk about it constantly. So everybody in our organization knows we're building long-term relationships and
it's really become a part of your culture.
Absolutely.
Right? That's your culture.
And we didn't have that. By the way, we did not have that this whole time. We were just kind of, we're just nice people for a long time. But we hired a coach. And I do think that industry-specific coaches, my opinion is, it's kind of like a chiropractor. Like, you don't need it when you don't need it, but you do need it every so often. So you need to go out, find an industry-specific person, and let them just tear you apart for 6 months.
Let them be really honest.
Really honest, tear you apart for 6 months, make changes, do the changes they make you do, and then you work for the next year or so on those changes, and then you pivot it and you hybrid off of that and see what works off of it. But you try to make some changes. And we did that about 2 years ago. And we're actually talking about doing it again because I think we're at a point now, because we're changing a little bit in terms of how we want to grow and all this kind of stuff, that we want to
have like outside eyes look at it.
Outside eyes look at it and how what we're getting out of everybody and all that kind of stuff. But the first time we did it, we were just going through like, who are we as a company?
Yeah. Right.
And when we did that 2 years ago, it really has changed everything, in my opinion, in terms of how we just interact with each other.
And that's fantastic. Do you all use an operating system for your work, like a Traction EOS?
We do not. It's a seat of our pants. What feels right.
Even as you've grown, that's really interesting, because usually as a company like goes and grows and kind of gets stress tested, I think kind of by the seat of your pants, you figure out that, if we had an operating system that we're running by, it would be a lot easier. Yeah,
I mean, maybe I don't understand like what you mean totally by operating system. Yeah, we have structure. Everybody knows their jobs, and we have our Google Sheets. We have all this stuff. Like we have everything's formatted, and we have our 1201 meetings on Monday. Excuse me. We have our 1201 meetings on Monday.
What's 1201 stand for?
1201. That's 1201. The time.
Oh, the 1201.
Yeah.
Okay.
It sounds better than the noon meeting. I don't know. We call it the 1201.
Awesome.
Because it's we do it on Mondays because people will. We don't meet a lot though. Like and I see when I hear about how often people meet, I'm like, how are y'all meeting that much? Because I don't have that amount of time to meet as much as people say they meet.
You saw Matthew Whitaker in there in the office.
He was meeting somebody on the
He
Zoom.
said, I've got a back-to-back Zoom.
Back-to-back Zoom. I saw 4 or 5 people on that too. So,
well, this is really interesting. So talk a little bit about, you and I have talked about this in the past. Ambition, work ambition, growth. You all are obviously on a growth pattern and trajectory. You're doing great work. You're expanding. You're going to be hiring new people. And yet you've also expressed to me sometimes it's like, hey, priority is family.
Yeah.
Priority it's like work is not where it always is. So how do you have this balance about like you're an owner and you have great ambition, but yet you're also, man, I got a family, I've got kids, I'm almost married 20 years. Like talk about that.
So I was telling you, you came and graciously spoke at the Atlanta chapter meeting recently. And when we were talking there, I even told you, because you were like, hey, we're in this different market, Trent. And I was just congratulating, because I like it when people do well. So like I was talking to you, I said, but I am not of the opinion I have to take over the world. That's not.
But yet you came into our backyard and down in Montgomery.
We came into your backyard out of necessity,
Gotcha.
and that was a growth area. We're not looking to move all over the place, because I don't know. I value more so than anything my time. And so in my time, I want to be able to do with what I want. And we haven't even gotten into my exercise routines and all that kind of stuff, but that is important to me. Both of my parents have passed away. I'm only 45. I'm about to be 45 next month. And they both died early, one from brain aneurysm and the other one from dementia. And so health, I've got to take health seriously. And so I turned it into the Ironman stuff that I do, and I don't let that affect my family, the time that I have to train for that stuff, because my family is my number one thing. I'm almost feel like a Mr. Mom. Like even I work from home a lot, because I only go in the office a couple times, 3 times a week or so, because our office is not staffed quite like yours. Most of our people are remote, most of them. So I am the one that picks up my kids from school. I'm the one who brings them to the baseball practices. I'm the one, or swim practices. I'm big on swim with my son. Yeah. That comes first. And I almost never sacrifice that time for anything. So
it seems like it's like family 1, health 2, business 3.
It is in a way. So I do take business seriously.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But when I say business seriously, from 8 to 12, that is my business time. So during the work week, now I work more than that, but like I'm getting a lot done between 8 and 12 almost every day.
You're focused heavily on just getting your business work done.
Correct. And after that, it's either I can either continue working. Where am I at in the training cycle type deal? Sometimes right now I'm not in one, so it's not a big deal. Or what's my family stuff to do? Somebody got an appointment, because my wife's a teacher, so she can't be anywhere. I can be anywhere that I want to be. And I'm somewhat privileged by that, because one of the reasons I can do the Ironman stuff, the swim, bike, run stuff, is because I'm privileged, because you can't do that without time and control of your own time, control of your own schedule. If you have to be a doctor, a teacher, it changes everything, because you have to be in those brick and mortar for that period of time.
All the time.
And I am blessed that I'm able to do that. Now, I don't really spend a ton of time training. I mean, maybe for some people I might think I might, but I'm also on a very strict schedule. I pretty much schedule out my whole life to the minutes. Like going to the bathroom in the inopportune time could be a problem, because I might not make it to my next meeting because I had it scheduled so tightly.
Right. So talk about Iron. I mean, we don't want to spend a whole ton of time on Ironman, but like, what has doing the Ironman taught you about life and discipline?
It's taught me a whole lot about discipline, because you don't want to do it more times than you want to do it to the training.
Right.
So it's mostly like I wake up a lot at 5:30 to go get in a swim. I go get in cold water by 6 a.m. somewhere and swim for 2 miles. And that's about an hour and a half. And people aren't willing to do that. It's just showing myself that I can do that and showing my kids. Like, I want to show my kids that, our motto, our you can go
this
ask
is
my
family
kids,
family
motto. Ratliffs do hard things. Ratliffs do hard things.
Yeah.
And so, like, whether it be, hey, this test is hard, Ratliffs do hard things. This class or whatever it is. So you've got to get in the mindset is you got to overcome whatever the hard things is.
Right.
And you can ask all my kids, my wife, that's what we say. So when something goes wrong, hey, it's a good thing that Ratliffs do hard things.
That's great, because most people, and you're right, I think Seth Godin talks about the lizard brain. Like, the lizard brain is kind of the part of the brain that's like, I don't really want to go and get in cold water at 6 a.m., which I'm sure you deal with. It's just like,
Oh, I definitely deal with it.
But what do you, essentially, what's driving you, I have found, because I've never done Ironman, but I have run some ultra marathons, which is just longer than a marathon. Like, it takes extreme amount of discipline, because a lot of times you don't want to go and train. And it's really like, everybody loves the race because the race has like a finish line and you're getting there. And
celebration
it's like,
of all the work you put in.
Man, celebration, but holy cow, that training is rough.
Yes. For me, the training's only rough in certain segments. So like when you do something like an Ironman, you have a coach that tells you what to do and you go through training blocks. And usually it's about 4 to 6 weeks training blocks, and you go through it probably twice before one. Gotcha. And when you get to the end of a training block, especially when you're doing a full Ironman, you don't want to get on a bike for 6 hours. Like, that is something you don't want to do.
Right.
A 3-hour bike ride is not that bad. It really puts in perspective. A 3-hour bike ride,
Sure.
To you, you're like, wow, you ran ride a bike for 3 hours at this? That might sound like overwhelming. Well, it's not when you're doing six.
When you're doing six, three's a break.
Three's a break.
Yeah.
So like when you're, and so right now I'm doing a lot of 3-hour ones, which 3-hour bike rides are not life-changing. 6-hour bike rides incorporate your whole day. You're depleted afterwards. You're not, and it's not just 6 hours. You've got to get to somewhere. You've got to then set up. Then you've got to take down. So it's an 8-hour thing. Yeah. And, that's why I said that people have to be privileged to be able to do this, because you have to have the time to do it. But even then, during those times, I would do it on a Friday when my kids are at school, and I would make sure my training was not during a summer when my kids are out, because summer is for family for us. Like, now because
your wife is not working.
My wife's not working, and there's opportunities for ball and swimming, because I have one kid that's a really good swimmer. We're talking like elite
level.
Yeah, he was a 9-year-old, and he came in the 10-year-old bracket. He came in 9th in the state in two of the
wow, that's impressive.
So he's this year he'll be 10, and he'll be swimming as a 10-year-old in the 10-year-old thing, and we'll see how he does. But he's pretty good. We're not talking Phelps, but he's a really good swimmer. So we have to like hold back even on the summers, because they want them to swim all year round. And what I'm getting is summers for family. Yeah. So right now they're at camp. So this week worked out great. I'll be with them the rest of the summer. But it's also harder on me, because when they're at home, that means
more is expected of you.
More is expected of me, and I just don't get to work as much as I want to. And believe it or not, I like to work. Yeah. I don't like to work 40 hours, but I love to work 20 to 30. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does, because you can, if you put all of your energy and focus into like what you're saying,
which I do.
Right. So when you're working, it's super focused. That takes a lot. I mean, some people work 40 hours, but don't get 20 hours worth of work done.
I guarantee you, people like Kayla and myself and other people, if I gave you 30 hours, that's like 60 for some people. I'm not. It's just I've just got that much unique experience, I guess, to be able to
focus.
Yeah.
A lot of it is just focus. A lot of it's focus and doing what you need to do. All right, so let's switch gears just a little bit. I'd love to talk briefly about AI. What are you seeing from AI? How is it changing your business, or maybe what do you even see coming in the future?
I'm going to ask you too.
industry.
I'm curious to what your thoughts are as well. I want to bounce off mine, and then I'll bounce. You'll see what comes back at me. But right now, I personally don't think that anybody really knows. Like, I think we know, and we think we're going in the right direction. And I think a year from now, we'll have a
lot better idea.
Solid foundation on what. And so all these companies are dipping their toe into AI, which they should be. People that it's absolutely necessary. That's where we're going in terms of productivity.
When you say all these companies, you're talking about vendors,
Venderoo, and like Apple's using it, and I think Better Who's using some now, and like what I'm saying, they're trying to incorporate it into their products.
Right.
But like I don't even think they absolutely know where they just know they need to be doing it, so they're working on it. But what I kind of see more is that everybody is going to have like an AI agent, and like an AI agent is going to be like your phone. You're going to pay $60 a month to whoever the provider is, and you're going to say, hey, name it. I'm going to call mine Charlie. Hey, Charlie, I'm going to work now. I want you to now get into my computer, and I want you to be reading my emails, and I'm going to tell you about what I'm doing, and it's just going to commentate. And the problem that we're going to have as property managers is that it's going to create that unique specialty that you have is going to shrink a little bit, because right now we have a big gap between us and our customer or even our clients in terms of knowledge.
Right.
And now it's when you have an AI agent, they're going to be sending emails to their AI agents. They're going to be taking your information and then telling the AI agent to explain it to them in a different way.
Right. What should I be asking my property manager that I'm not currently asking?
And right now you have to like type that out to ChatGPT and make it very or Grok or whatever platform you choose to use. And some people do that, but they only do it when in the sense of, I got this email. Okay, I'm going to copy this email. I'm going to ask Grok, but that's not. It's going to be bigger than that.
It's going to be way different than that.
It's going to be different than that. That's that surface level type stuff. And we're already seeing that where when we have a tenant, let's just call him Kevin, and we know Kevin's not super with the keyboard, and he writes a Superman email. We're like, okay, that was ChatGPT.
We know that's ChatGPT. That's right.
And it's just, so that's happening now. What I don't know is what's going to happen in the future. And like, I don't know if. What I do know is that as employment, U.S. people we have shifted we have our U.S. employees
staff, all right,
and then we have our RTM staff. We already said, hey, we're willing to go RTM staff because it's more cost effective and for certain tasks. And if you're telling me we're not going to move to AI for those certain tasks that maybe the RTMs are doing, I think you're crazy, because we've already told you we'll move. And RTMs they'll still be around, but like the AI, once you've trained it, once it gets to that point, you can't, it's as long as you're paying the subscription bill for whoever's servicing the AI, it's not going to leave you. And then it's going to be there 24/7. It's going to be able to do more things. So it's kind of like, why wouldn't you use that when it's that point? Something I worry about is like, where's our industry going? Like, meaning like about 10 years ago, I thought property mail was like going to be the thing. And the reason I thought property mail was going to be like the thing was that I thought some software, call it AppFolio, would take on, become, you're not hiring a manager, you're hiring the software. And then if you had a work order, they would just go to Property Mail, because Property Mail's got all the information on all certain markets. So like this market is supported by Property Mail because they have all the vendors, and they would just
assign it out to the
vendors, and that would cut out some headache. And I really thought that's where it was going to go. Well, now I'm like almost convinced. I'm like, how is that not going to happen? Because once the software's become AI and they can talk to it, because right now you can't really talk to it, then and then get the work order, and then it would be like auxiliary products like going to court. Well, that would be extra, and we have a relationship here, and you may have to do something else. But maybe that's where we get. I'm trying to see where's our threat, because no matter what, though, people have to go to the properties. So like
That's right. That's what I was thinking. Like people still going to have to
gotta go to the properties.
Got to get eyeballs on them.
But I mean, there's people like on-site pros out there. So like, if the services go through like that would service those units. So there is a threat there. So you're going to have to be good, but there's always going to be people want to deal with people and not deal with, but then there's also going to be people that are trying to get cost effectiveness, that are out there as well, that are going to try, and it's going to fail for a while. It's not going to be great, but then at some point, it probably will be. I don't know. I find it interesting, and maybe I'm way off, but I was just, that's kind of what I'm thinking with the.
I think as our kids get older and become investors or property owners, accidental landlords, they're going to be like expecting AI, right? So my kids are older than your kids, but still, they're still going to expect
interesting.
That.
This is another wavelength of this is our generation's not going to change too much with this. Okay,
correct.
We will use it, but as a tool, but it won't be what I think is in where we're going to, and that's why I say I can't really predict it yet. Is that kids that are being born now are in the next 5 years? Well, what do we already know about these kids? We already know when you have a kid and you want to entertain them, what do you put in front of them?
They put an iPad.
Screen.
Yeah,
you put a screen. So are we willing to let kids have a screen? Yes. That answer is yes.
Yes.
You can't. Oh, I don't let my kid. Well, I'm telling you, America does. And so what's going to end up happening is AI agent is going to be your AI buddy. It's going to be your AI
it's your pal. It's your AI pal.
Yeah. What's the kid sister or my buddy, whatever, my buddy and me. Well, my buddy is going to be there.
It's going to be AI. Yeah.
And AI, it's going to be talking to them. It's going to be their friend. Mm-hmm. They're going to be used to that is their friend. And if you shut it off, it's like going to be killing somebody to them. To us, we would be like, that's just a computer, relax. But to them, that's going to be a real emotional connection that they're going to have because they're just going to grow up in a different time than us. And so if you're telling me they're not going to be okay talking to AI through a service, they're going to be totally fine with it because that's what they're going to be completely fine with it. I mean, our kids don't even watch TV anymore. They watch YouTube on a phone. That's already surpassed. It's blowing my mind that people don't even watch TV anymore.
Yeah, so many people of the younger generation that I talk to about different shows and stuff. It's all streaming or just YouTube. They don't mind watching YouTube.
Do they watch YouTube all day?
YouTube is fine for them. And I had ChatGPT pulled up the other day, and I was with my wife and my son, and we were talking about something. I said, I've just gotten conditioned where I'll ask ChatGPT before I'll ask Google, because most of the time it'd be like, Google it. Well, you Google, then you're hitting a link and whatever. Mm-hmm. So I just hit the voice thing and asked, and it said, "Oh, Spencer, great question." And afterwards, Grant made a comment. Who's my son? He's 23. He said, that was really interesting because it added the human mannerisms of
Oh wow!
It didn't have to say but it sounded so human-like that. Can you imagine that this is the way it's going to be?
It's going to be
with like I told Grant, I said, your kids, Grant, when you have kids and they get 16, they're going to say, "Y'all really used to drive cars?"
Yeah,
because we're gonna be like there's gonna be autonomous vehicles everywhere. So,
there's so many things like
so
that.
Many things.
You could go on and on. Like they're going to be like, you used to eat like an actual cow, like you would like. I'm just saying like that kind of stuff is going to be. Yeah. I'm not saying that's going to.
But what you're saying is things that are so very normalized right now are going to become like crazy to them.
Correct.
And they're going to just be like, y'all used to listen to music on a tape cassette. Like that's the way my kids are, right? Yeah. It's like on a record player. I even had records back then, and now they're back in style, of course, but. Yeah, I when I think about AI, I do think that people walking properties and the fact that it's a physical asset, I think is going to keep us close to our clients. However, I do see that why wouldn't all of leasing be handled through
There is
AI?
aspects.
Yeah, there's aspects now, but there's probably aspect like all of it could probably be handled remotely or through AI at some point. owner experience, a lot of it.
By personal experience, you have to have boots on the ground in the areas you are. There's no way around it. There is no way around it. I don't care what AI can do. You have to have boots on the ground.
You do. I mean, that is the thing. So if you're a property manager listening, in my opinion, you should be setting yourself up as the market expert in that market, because you want to be the consultant. I want to know. I want to be able to tell an owner, if he calls me or she calls me and says, hey, I'm considering buying a property. This is the neighborhood and this is the address. And I'm like, hey, let me tell you something. You don't really want to buy on that street, because here's what I know about the street. There's 2 vacant properties. I drove down the street yesterday and I saw this or saw that. How is AI going to do that?
Yeah.
Maybe in the future we'll know.
Very specific and unique knowledge.
Very specific.
And that's something that AI is way far away from.
Yeah, it's way far away.
Yeah,
right as we sit here
knowledge.
And speak right now, it's way far away.
Correct.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so I see those are the limitations.
But I do think AI agents talking to them, and then AI, because I do think that people are going to better themselves faster through AI agents, and that's coming sooner than later.
Yep, agree. And then if you're listening to this and you're marketing your services, just know that more and more people are going to be using AI to search, to get knowledge, like who's the best property manager in this city, Austin, Texas.
Wow. I never thought about trying to get up, we're always trying to get up on Google and all that, but now we're going to get up on Grok, we're going to get up on ChatGPT.
Well, 100%.
How's that going to work?
I look at every lead that comes in, every organic
you're a marketing
leads.
expert over there.
Yeah, I'm looking at every organic leads and I'm already seeing the source coming from ChatGPT.
Yeah.
So it's already happening.
That's great.
And I'm like, okay.
I mean, you just kind of, in my head, I never even thought about that until you just said that.
It's just more and more people are going to use that instead of, and now Google's a little bit behind with AI. I'm sure with billions of dollars they can catch up, and they're going to figure out a way to do it, but they are behind ChatGPT and some of these others. So Perplexity. So the challenge for me is figuring out, how do I get found through all of this, through all the AI and not just Google.
I mean, there's always going to be the aspect that they want a person to trust it too. I mean, that's, or I'm saying, our generation, for the next 10, 20 years, that's going to be the case. I don't want to predict 30 years out, because that's a whole nother, but.
Yeah. Well, good. Well, Trent, this has been great, man. Anything else you want to hit on? You're easy to talk to. We should definitely have you back, because I think we could probably get a whole nother episode out of this.
You think Whitaker would join us at one point?
I mean, if we can pull him away from his Zoom calls. I think you will. He will.
It's fine.
But I'm glad you were in Birmingham for the NARPM Southern States. It's been fantastic.
So I do want to add this.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
So I want to add that. So the whole reason I am where I am today, and I told you it kind of pivoted in 12, 13, 14 for me, was because I got heavily involved in NARPM. And in ARPM, if you invest your time into that, you will make some really good relationships. It's the most open and sharing organization that's out there. And you can't find somebody that won't tell you otherwise. And it is a little intimidating, because there's a lot of people a lot of people know each other. And but once you get in, the amount of information you can get and the amount of relationships. You had Courtney on earlier, because I was talking to her, and she was even talking about Tiffany came with her. Tiffany became her best friend in the business, and lives outside of her area. Flew down here just to watch her give a speech,
give her talk,
and support her. And that kind of stuff is happening all over the U.S. I could call on the way here. Brian Birdie called me. He lives in San Antonio. What I'm telling you is, I have contacts all over Nashville, Seattle. And if you get involved and you start giving your time to an organization like NARPM, especially if you're in property management, it will give back to you so much more than you can possibly even realize. For me, it's changed my whole life. It all started with meeting people like Scott Abernathy, Brian Birdie, Brian Jenkins. And hey, we're here because of Brian Jenkins. Brian Jenkins brought NARPM to a Southern States Conference here. So I have to give him a round of applause for getting it to Birmingham. Yeah, I just talked to him today. We're going to have him on the podcast soon. He's been a great Birmingham asset to people all around the state. He's had a company up in Huntsville, here in Birmingham, did great work. And I agree with you. Matthew always talks about when he
started to get serious about property management. We didn't have a NARPM chapter here, so he started driving to Nashville and Atlanta.
Yeah.
And he just kept going because he's like, I want to get to know people in the industry. He also needed help, so people like Robert Locke were really instrumental to him. So you're right. It's like if you aren't a part of NARPM, get involved. I appreciate people like you because you're not just involved in NARPM. You're like a huge cheerleader for it, and get other people involved. Like
bring good energy. It
100%. Yeah. And I agree. We always think help enough. Like we can help as many. It's just good for the industry, right? To help
Correct.
other.
I want to help
property
everybody.
managers.
I'll tell everybody any secret you want. I'm an open book.
We don't have any secrets either. We're like, listen, we'll share anything with anybody. It's good for everybody. Like we want the professionalism of the whole industry. It's helpful for everybody.
I agree. That's that's a great way to end this conversation because one of the whole reasons I'm here, and I know you, is through NARPM.
Yeah, that's right. This is our relationship. It's through NARPM.
I met you in Minnesota back in like 10 years ago.
Yep.
And so it speaks for itself.
It does. So that's just a PSA. If you're not involved with NARPM, get involved. Find a local chapter. If you don't have a local chapter, start coming to some of the national events. You'll get to know people. It's fantastic.
Great. Thank you for having me, man.
All right. Thanks, Trent.
Been a blast.
Thanks for being here. We'll be back next week with another episode of the Evernest Property Management Show. Thanks, everybody.